All right, welcome. And we are doing another Kratom session. I'm going to do my 2 scoops of Foria green Mangda Kratoms, 2 teaspoons. And that's about 5 grams. That's my regular dose. I usually don't go more than that. It's just, I like to find what is that happy medium, and I recommend people that are trying it for the first time not to go above 5 grams, and I would recommend maybe starting around 2.5 grams, so like 1 teaspoon, because you can always take more and you can never take less. And it's all about prioritizing your health, your body, what works for you. And if you take too much, you can get sick, you won't have a pleasant experience. And so I always shake it up, shaken not stirred. That's how it's done. Got the orange juice, mix it up, Kratom and OJ. That's how we do it. And then pop it back and chug it. And then sometimes it's got a little clump, so maybe you want to shake it up more, let it sit just a little bit if you want to get it smoother. But remember, a sweet citrus juice is the best way to go. It's my favorite. So orange juice is Kratom and OJ is my regular. And then there's any kind of other sweet citrus juice, cranberry, raspberry is my next favorite. And that's just, can't go wrong with that. And it just really helps with that earthy taste that Kratom has. Tastes like dirt, but you mix it up with orange juice and it really helps mask the flavor. It's just the sweet citrus combination goes with the bitter taste. So I rinse it out with water, and and then that's just it. It's just right there. It's simple. Now, kind of as I want to talk about Kratom as an opioid, or how it's classified, and I want to talk about how it kind of goes with the opiate epidemic that our country and all around the world people have been facing, of loved ones themselves going through addiction with opiates, friends and family of people going through addiction, people dying. I've had a few friends die, and I've had friends of mine become addicted on opiates, and it's a real thing. And so Kratom is this herbal, it's an herbal medicine, I guess, if you want to call it. It's just an herbal supplement, or whatever you want to call it and classify it. But the problem is that because it kind of functions like an opiate, or it feels similar, it gets classified as that. And mainly scientifically, the alkaloids of Kratom, the main alkaloids, bind with the opioid receptors of the brain. And these opioid receptors, they bind with any opiate, right? Whether it's heroin, whether it's OxyContin, whether it's methadone, whether it's Kratom, whether it's dark chocolate, and whether it's endorphins, which are generated in the body. And so these opioid receptors, they are what metabolize any kind of chemicals you either generate in your body or you ingest from the outside world. And so it's unfair because Kratom is so much different. It's not even related to the poppy plant, which opium and heroin and opiates are derived from. And so they're very, very different in that, although they're similar in function and similar in effect on the person, and similar on the opioid receptors, they're different in that Kratom is from the leaf of a plant that is related to the coffee plant. The kratom plant tree has around 40 alkaloids, and it has so much different kind of properties that interact with the body. So it's similar to actual opiates, but it's different. And the main difference is that it's pretty much impossible to die off kratom. And if you are, if you hear about stories of people that are have overdosed and died from kratom, it's usually because they have, had combined it with other things. And so it doesn't suppress the nervous system. If you drink, let's say 20 to 30 grams of kratom at a time, and again, I just drank 5 grams. So if you were to drink around 30 grams at a time, right, just big old dose, I mean, the worst what's going to happen is you're going to get sick and puke and throw up. So the thing is let's say, for example, if you just fall asleep, you get really, super dizzy, you fall asleep, whatever, and you kind of have an overdose from kratom, you're going to not stop breathing. And that's the main difference that kratom has with other opiates, such as heroin, right? So heroin, you take too much, you fall asleep and die, and that's what happens. And then kratom, you drink too much, you'll get sick and you'll puke, or probably have a panic attack, because it has different alkaloids that can kind of give you these stimulants. And I mean, the main problem with kratom is that you get it in this powder, right? And if you are a person that really wants to, go crazy with it, I mean, you can just dump this whole container, which is 90 grams. You can dump it in a thing like this, mix it up with OJ, whatever, just chug it, and you can take all 90 grams, right? Just by, chugging 2 of these with orange juice and just a boatload of kratom. It'll be gross, but the point is that because it comes in this powder, it is very concentrated in the fact that it is possible to do way too much of it and to abuse it, right? And I mean, that's the kind of problem with any kind of drugs. I mean, if you get a prescription of OxyContins, I mean, you can easily take the whole bottle, right? You can easily take the whole bottle and pass out and stop breathing, and that's what happens. That's the kind of things that's why actual opiates, that's why they're very dangerous, and that's why there's such a concern of our society, causing upwards of 70,000 deaths per year. And whether people are dying from accidental overdose, whether people are shooting up heroin that's cut with fentanyl, or getting illicit drugs and it's cut with fentanyl, because fentanyl is causing a lot of, that's the main killer, because it's a synthetic opioid, fentanyl is, and it can cause it's just super easy to overdose, and that's why it's just super dangerous to be using actual opiates. And that's why kratom is such a safer alternative in terms of fundamental safety, especially if you're a person that is interested in using for these effects, and you're looking to use it responsibly. Because people do die from accidental overdoses off, they might get prescribed OxyContin and benzo and like Xanax and a muscle relaxer, right? That's the holy trinity you hear about. And these people will get it prescribed from the doctor, they'll take them, they'll fall asleep, and then they won't wake up. And that's actually happened to a friend of mine, and we lost a friend from an accidental overdose from that reason. And so I don't know if those were the exact drugs, but it's just like, I mean, that's a big reason why it's happening. And it's infuriating, because these doctors have been prescribing in these ways, and it's just led to such drastic effects over the last 20 years. And so I want to compare, like, for example, a person that goes and gets heroin, I mean, the heroin market, it's a black market. I mean, usually it's Mexican tar that's coming into the United States. you know, the actual manufacturing and production of heroin, it goes through around, I think, 5 or 6 additive chemical stages where they reduce it down, they extract the opium, add a chemical, reduce it down, let it dry, put it back in, add another chemical, reduce it down, and it's like this big process. And what they're doing is they're doing all these kind of chemical reactions that are more or less finally making the final product of heroin, which is very strong, very powerful, very deadly, and very, very addictive. And so not only that, but all these chemical processes in the actual product, but then it's like coming from Mexico, they have to go through the drug cartel because it's the black market, and the drug cartel is this multi-billion-dollar, you know, organization. And they are, you know, there's so much blood in it. There's so much death. There's so much, you know, competition. There's so much just blood on the hands of heroin, whether it's from people overdosing and dying, or whether it's from, you know, cartel drug dealers competing and killing each other. And so there's so much, you know, bad problems in that area. And then as the final result, people get so addicted with heroin, they're getting it from black market, people are cutting it with fentanyl, and then people are getting so addicted, they end up on the streets, they destroy their body, it's just a terrible process. Where Kratom, on the other hand, is, you know, it's grown in Southeast Asia, it's more or less a white market there in terms of how it gets exported, and it's just a regular business for these farmers, and it's a very simple process. And that's the thing. So the process for making Kratom powder is that they, you know, grow the plants, harvest the leaves, dry the leaves, and that's it. And then once the leaves are dry, then they grind it into powder. And so it's through the drying phase and all that there's different, it kind of creates these different alkaloids from it, but it's not too different, you know, and that's how you get the 3 different color strains of white, red, and green, is through the drying phase. And so the thing is because it's very, in a way, it's like low impact in terms of the technicality of it, where it's just pretty much organic, right? From the farmer, dried, and then into the powder to the consumer. And so it's just, and then not only that, because, you know, it's not a horrible, bloody, you know, market like the heroin Mexican tar drug cartel. It's just a lot more ethically better, and there's just so much more benefits from using Kratom, and it's just like it should not be in any way compared to opiates and how bad, you know, heroin, OxyContin, fentanyl, how bad that's destroying our society. And Kratom can help people, and Kratom has been, you know, it's just a great solution. And so overall, my goal is to fucking. Alright, sorry, that meowing in the background was my little kitten, Periwinkle. I've been taking care of Periwinkle's only about 4 years old, and Rufus, his mom. But yeah, I just want to conclude and say that, you know, my goal with kind of pushing Kratom is that it's just such a better ethical way, and I want to, you know, push for new ways of looking at it to, 1, address the opioid crisis, and then 2, it's like just to help people that can manage their pain, help with their life in whatever way they may see fit. And so I'll be talking about more of this and take these thoughts from what I said today and kind of continue on this. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Here, one quick, oh, give some eyes. Oh, give some eyes. Show your eyes. Oh.